Hello, my name is Jacqui Williams, and I have been contracted by RDCOTA to be a project consultant for a community grant that they were successful in receiving from Redland City Council at the end of October last year. It's a 12-month project, and it's called Compassionate Communities, Victoria Point and Coochiemudlo Island Pilot Project. As an end-of-life doula and also someone who works in the area of end-of-life for many years now, I'm passionate about this project because the concept is that we will engage with the communities of Victoria Point and Coochiemudlo and the broader communities in Redlands and beyond who may be interested in exploring the appetite of the community at both those suburbs, Victoria Point and Coochiemudlo Island, as to whether they would like to be a compassionate community. So what is a compassionate community? Many years ago, Professor Alan Kelleher was integral in commencing what was called a Compassionate Cities Charter. And part of that Compassionate Cities Charter is a compassionate community. And the roots of that is as a community from a whole of community approach. And that means persons not just facing a serious illness or life-limiting condition, particularly at the end of life, but also their carers, which could be family or friends or other members of community, and the bereaved. How can we better support them through the ups and downs that life presents? That happens to all of us at some stage of our life or to someone that we know. And so a compassionate community as a whole of community approach looks at not just those persons, but also how workplaces, businesses, schools, health professionals, people working with providing services, faith-based organisation, cultural organisations, all different aspects of our community, how they and we can support people that are experiencing loss through serious illness, dying, death, and bereavement. Alan Kelleher has a wonderful video that he has put out, and it basically shows that from the beginning of diagnosis of a life-limiting illness, a person's palliative journey from diagnosis, which might be years before their death, or it may only be a short time before their death, but at that time of diagnosis to end of life, a person spends between 5 and 10% of that time in front of a health professional. The rest of that time, 90 to 95% of the time, the person is going through this experience by themselves or with their family, their friends, their work colleagues, and their other members of their community. So when you think of that concept, it's going back to almost over 100 years ago, where we were more connected with our neighbours and those in our community. People were born at home and they died at home. Or if they didn't die at home, their bodies were often brought home where they could be, and then their bodies were buried or whatever ritual they had. And we've lost that. We've become medicalised and institutionalised. And whilst that can have some benefits from a longevity perspective and sometimes a quality of life, it also has disengaged us from being a community, a true community. So this project will explore whether the people, the workplaces, the businesses, the faith-based organisations, etc., what is the appetite for Victoria Point and Coochiemudlo communities to become a compassionate community. Now, to do that, we need to explore people's understanding and their skills about death, dying, grief and loss and bereavement. We need to explore through forums, engaging with people through meeting at forums, whether that's via Zoom or in person, and Zoom is if we can't connect in person because of COVID, for example. But we need to explore what's working well in the area for people with serious illness at the end of life, their carers and the bereaved, and what's not working well. Where are the gaps? Where are the barriers? And what are the opportunities? And this, it will inform us as to how we may be able to establish a compassionate community in one or both of these communities. So when I engaged and had discussions with Robin Robinson, the president of RDCOTA, about this, as we were putting the grant in, we're looking at why pick Victoria Point and Coochiemudlo. Well, one of the reasons is I live in Victoria Point, and I'm passionate about expanding and exploring and making people more comfortable in the space of talking and thinking and reflecting about death, dying and quality of life associated with that, and also grief and loss, because we don't have a lot of supports in those areas. But more importantly, Victoria Point, if you look at it, has well established and many retirement villages and residential aged care facilities. We have medical practices and other health agencies here. We have funeral directors. We have legal lawyers who do estate planning, and we have a lot of a mixed community. So it's not just the elderly we're talking about here. It can be the younger disabled person who may have a serious or life-limiting illness, or be bereaved as well. So how can we integrate with our schools? We've got primary schools and high schools here. So it really and truly is a community approach, a whole of community approach. And this project will look at all those things I just mentioned, but it'll also look at hopefully informing the community more about what services are out there, how they can engage with them. And one of the outcomes from this project is I'll be developing an electronic resource that RDCOTA team can access when people come and inquire about what is available out there in the area of end of life and bereavement. So that will be a handy little resource. But it'll also be creating opportunities for education where people can hopefully attend sessions if they choose to learn more about these areas and feel more comfortable, hopefully, in exploring the reality of our own mortality, if I can put it in that way, and also supporting people who have gone through grief and loss. And I think at the moment a lot of us are feeling quite challenged by, I call it COVID fatigue, because we're constantly facing the reality of our mortality, with hearing about death and dying quite frequently, or sickness. So it's a golden opportunity to engage. We welcome you and any networks you have, any clients or patients you may be linking with that may want to be part of this project. They can contact me on 0402 496 360, 0402 496 360, or my email is Jacqui, JACQUI, at endoflifetransitions.com.au, or through the RDCOTA team. They can, who I'm happy can share my details, and I'd be more than happy to have a discussion one-on-one or in a group, and we can do that via Zoom or in person, subject to COVID. There are 2 forums that have been set up on the 4th of February and the 18th of February between 10 till 12. People can book through Eventbrite, and the flyer I will give to Paul and Judith to put on with the minutes. And you can engage through, register through Eventbrite, or you can call me directly or email me directly if you'd like to come. And these forums will be more about explaining what a compassionate community is in more depth, also giving some examples of some actual compassionate communities throughout the world and what outcomes they've achieved, and also then looking at the gaps, the strengths, the opportunities and the barriers that might be happening in the area of end-of-life carer support and bereavement. So please come and join us. And if you've got any questions at all, just get in contact with me. And looking forward to hopefully being part of this ongoing space. Bye now. Thank you.